My name is Rachel Strain, and I am here today representing brain cancer. The month of May is Brain Cancer Awareness Month, and approximately 25,000 people a year are diagnosed with some form of brain cancer. Out of that number, about 10,800 are women. And the type of brain cancer that I had been diagnosed with was anaplastic oligodendroma glioma, and that accounts for about 1.4% to 0.5% of primary brain cancers. There are many types of brain cancers, but the grade that the brain cancer is, that's how it's the name that it's given. Anaplastic astrocytoma is a grade 3, but mine was grade 3 and 4, so it was a combination of the two, and so that's why it's the anaplastic oligodendroma glioma. What happened was I fell out at work and went to the emergency room with a migraine, and they sent me home with a Benadryl. I was not feeling well over the weekend, so I decided to make sure I listened to my body, and I went to my primary care physician because I not only wasn't feeling well with having a migraine and feeling weak, but I started seeing rings of fire. And so when I went to my primary care doctor, she sent me to have my optic nerves tested. And that's when they found that my optic nerve pressure was 3 times what it was supposed to be. And so I was immediately sent for an MRI to evaluate the situation. And within 24 hours, I was in the office with a neurosurgeon because I was told that I had to have emergency surgery. If you suspect anything, you should go see an ophthalmologist, and they'll do some different tests. They'll check your optic nerve, to have your optic nerve checked. And when he looked, he saw a small lump, is what he told me, on my optic nerve, and so that's why he sent me immediately to go have my MRI. And when he called me the following morning, he told me he already had an appointment with a neurosurgeon scheduled. When I went to the neurosurgeon, they had my MRI results were up on a screen, and I thought that was somebody else's because I could not imagine that a quarter of my brain would be white from the tumor. Like I said, I didn't know it was mine. And when I saw that, it was quite devastating. And because I went there by myself because I just thought it was, again, a small lump on my optic nerve, and didn't realize that it was going to be a tumor the size of a Myers lemon in my head. Because it was 9 by 6 centimeters round and in 3 centimeters depth. So basically like 3 eyeballs deep into my brain. And it was a Tuesday that I was at the neurosurgeon's office. Thursday was Thanksgiving, and he told me I had a choice. I could have emergency surgery on Wednesday before Thanksgiving or Friday. And I was like, well, I have to have Thanksgiving with my family because I'm going to cook. No, that didn't happen. It was amazing. The tumor had gotten so big so fast, and there was no more room for it to move in my brain, in my skull, that I started having problems walking and talking and just general moving. And so I celebrated Thanksgiving dinner sitting on the floor in our living room, and everybody brought food to me, and we did everything there and had the surgery the following morning. Tried to. I don't even remember if I did, but I just know that everybody sat around because I couldn't sit at a chair because my balance was so off. So it was definitely interesting. When I initially heard that, my initial thoughts were about my family, about my son and my husband. in what I was going to do, and was I going to be able to be here, because the only people I've ever heard of that had brain cancer passed away. And so I was literally scared to death, and had to take probably 30 minutes in the doctor's office to calm down, because it was very hard to process. And I called my husband, and what he could make out was brain cancer, come to the hospital. And that was it. And so thank God he knew where I was at. So, and went from there. But it was, I don't know where I would be without my family and my friends, and the grace of God being there with me and blessing me to be able to be here after 10 years. Because I was told, when they asked me if I wanted to know my probability after I had started going through my treatments, I told them no, because the only person who has my blueprints for my life is God. My son was 16 at the time, and I said, I am going to be here to watch him graduate high school, go to his prom, I'm going to watch him get married. I want to see my grandchildren. I want to be here to chase my husband with a cane when I'm in my 90s. And when I got to the 2-year mark, my doctor told me I had less than 7% chance of being here at 2 years. And I'll going on 10 years this year. So I'm extremely happy and thankful that I can celebrate with my family. Celebrate life every single day when I wake up in the morning, because I'm so thankful to be here on a daily basis. I don't even know how to explain it. I just had a feeling that I'm going to be here. Everything was going to be, I had like a calming come over me, and it was, everything's going to be okay. You need to trust in God and believe that everything will be fine. And it's what I've done. And I don't know how to explain it, but I just know that I thank God every day that I'm here, and that I wake up in the morning. Well, as my father-in-law would say, as long as you're on the right side of the grass, you're golden. So, I hope to be here for another 40 years at least, and if not more. And so I can, like I said, chase my husband around and just chase my grandchild and be with my family and my friends. I used to always joke before, because he was diagnosed with leukemia a few years ago, and he had passed away a couple of years ago. But you ever seen a man in his 70s just go every single day? I mean, he was up, he'd get out there with the dogs, he'd be out there doing stuff and taking care of things, and he was like, I got to keep moving every day. And that's what I try to do. I move every single day. I don't want to lay down in bed and just be wallowing. I want to keep going, I'll keep learning, keep going to school, keep educating myself, and trying to help other people and doing things for myself and my family. Okay, so I had to have brain surgery, a craniotomy, and I laugh to this day because it talks about the Midas drill that they used to cut open my skull. I just thought it was amusing. I didn't know, golden touch, I don't know. I was praying that my doctor had it to make sure he got all of the tumor out. And I was fortunate. I was told that all of the tumor had been removed because it was encapsulated. And so they had done that, and then I immediately had to start radiotherapy, radiation treatments, and chemotherapy. And radiation treatments was very interesting because I had to wear a mask that had bolts on it, and had to be locked down to a table every day for 6 weeks for an hour at a time. So that was amusing, to say the least. And my husband literally had to chase me out to the parking lot because I left the first time when they went to go put the mask on me, or to fit the mask on my face, and I left. My husband had to come get me and bring me back in to because this was part of it that they said would help or would hopefully help. And did that and went through chemotherapy for 18 weeks and still here. So it was a good thing. There's a lot of information that we couldn't find 10 years ago on this. And now we can find more information. So it's interesting to see, more statistics and things like that. But I didn't look up anything like that information, especially in the first 2 years, because I didn't want to know. Because I didn't want to go and hide in a closet and give up on my life. I just wanted to be there, and I wanted to do whatever I could to make sure that I was going to be here and try to be as positive as I possibly can be, so that I can be around for my son and my grandchildren, his wife and my husband, and our families. So I find information that is helpful. However, the outcome in prognosis is gloomy. When you're told that you have less than 7% chance and those numbers haven't changed, it's actually gone down, or, of making it to 2 years. Now there's more numbers out that people are 5-year survivors, but nothing with really long-term 20-year survivors, 30-year survivors. So I hope to be one of those people and so to inspire some hope into somebody one day. When I came to Unite back in 2016, I was class of 2017. When I came in, I got to meet other people that have gone through chemotherapy and radiation, different types of surgeries, not all. And there was that common ground where we all understood, because there's a lot of things that are the same through different types of cancers, like memory loss and being able to talk about losing your hair and eyebrows and eyelashes, and your weight changes, and there's a lot of different common ground that people have going through their treatments. And you don't have to feel like you're alone any longer, because you're the only one out there with your type of cancer. And just being a part of a group and where you can build friendships and have someone to be able to talk to when you're going through your stages of grief, when you're going through your depression, when you're going through survivor guilt. And there's other people that go through that as well. And there's some days you still wonder, why did God allow me to be here 10 years later, when there are people that don't make it a year or even 6 months? But you have the backup, and you have the people that you can talk to on whenever you want to. And it's made a huge difference in my life, knowing that there are other people out there that have gone through the same type of thing I have gone through. And we're all there to support each other. There's been a lot of opportunities for joy. It takes me a little bit longer to learn things now, but I started going back to classes in online schools and taking different classes, challenging myself. There are certain things you forget on programming, maybe, or just different things. And so I would take classes on stuff with like Word and Excel, Microsoft, and all that kind of good stuff. But and so I could remember, because the more I read, the better off I am, and it kind of stores the information and helps your nerves and information getting back together, kind of in your little file system in your brain. And I always kind of have to joke, because I literally have a hole in my head. So if somebody makes a comment, "Oh, what you have?" Had somebody do that one day, not realizing that, yes, I actually do have a hole in my head. It's a little bit smaller, but it's still there. And you just got to go on and keep going. But I'm just trying to do my best every day and live my life. and enjoyed my life.